Hello punters and welcome back to the second of the racing previews for the day. We're looking at the Rosehill meeting up in New South Wales. If you haven't already had a look, go and have a look at the Caulfield and Morphettville previews in the previous video. We're looking forward to racing tomorrow. Some really nice races to get through. So we're going to have a look, get straight into it. Look at Rosehill tomorrow. We've got the track rated as a soft 5 at the moment. I'd say we might be working those conditions tomorrow as well, with a little bit of rain to be due in the track. Generally, Rosehill doesn't dry out all overly well. So we're looking at the first on the card here at Rosehill is the 2-year-old 1200 metre race. Looking at the speed map here, there's a lot of it, and I'd say Vivaro, Satin Socks, and Drew Detective will all try and be forward from the outside barriers. I'd say Blitzer and Exceed the Stars will try and find the front from the inside barriers, and Iskander, first up here of his preparation, will also be quite close to speed. Look, for me, I just think they're going to overdo it out front. They'll leave it open for number 7, Lucello, to charge over the top of them later. I thought this horse's win last time out, beating Roman Wolf, was superb on the Kensington track. Got through the heavy easily. Looked like it was running on top of the ground, really, the way it won. Look, it was scratched at the barriers a couple of weeks ago, and hence had a trial. It was just fair in the trial, but I do think this horse is really up and about. It was you're looking at the first run. This preparation was ridden on speed and charged down by Leviathan. The form out of that race has been really good, so I'm happy to have it on top. I think if they ride it cold, which I think they will do, considering all the speed in the race, this horse will be able to charge over the top of them late. So I'm happy to go its way over the one True Detective, who's paying $1.65 for me. Best horse in the race. I was very keen on it last week. Sorry, not last week, a couple of weeks ago, where it was just nudged out by Spend. But I thought that was a really impressive run. But for me, $1.65, and it's got to overcome barrier 10 with all the speed in the race. No, thank you. I would not be touching that. So I'm happy to have it in for second. In for third, number 2, Exceed the Stars, National Rilla. It's great to see him back in Australia, riding in Sydney. He was very good at Kembla Grange yesterday. I'll get that out eventually. But this horse has been up and about this preparation. It was up beaten point over length by Rule of the World, first up at Canterbury. Then it came out and beat Mandela. Of course, Mandela failed last week, so the form's a little bit patchy around Exceed the Stars. But I thought that was a real honest on-pace performance. And of the on-speed runners, besides number 1 True Detective, I could see it staying on well. In for fourth, don't want to discount this horse's chance, number 12 Satin Socks. It was really unlucky last time out at Warwick Farm when it was held up behind Academy. It was bolting for a run, and I'd suggest if he'd got the run, it would have gone really close to winning. Prior to that, turned in a really good performance from starting back in the field and charging on to beat Turnstile of the 1,000 metres. I think if they can do that again, they might look at doing that this time around with Satin Socks. They might just sit it back and come off the speed, just like what I think number 7 Lucello will do. And if it does that, I really will give it a good chance to win the race also. So to recap the numbers on the card at Rosehill, I like number 7 Lucello on top to beat number 1 True Detective in for second. In the third, number 2 Exceed the Stars. In fourth, number 12 Satin Stocks. Race number 2, this is the highway race for the day, and this one's, as sometimes these are, they are very difficult to split apart, but we'll give it a good crack anyway. I'd say Assault and Bathory, if it will use barrier 2 to hit the rail and get forward. I'd say number 13, Mate of Maryland, will also use barrier 3 to get prominent. I'd say Sweet Knuckle and the Warlord might come across on the outside barriers, and Black Wand for barrier 7. But for me, I'd see these front runners just find it nicely. But there's also always a lot of speed in the highway races. Now, looking at this, I think this horse is paying a bit of pretty nice odds, and I'm going with Tommy Berry to get a riding early double for us. And I think this horse was really good beating a beanie last time out at Newcastle. That horse has since come out one, so the form behind it's really good. That was a benchmark 70. Prior to that, it won at Wellington in a good effort there. And this horse has just been in good form. Was beaten by 1.5 lengths at Weather Channel. Has been competitive in highway races recently. So I just think this horse is really on top at the moment. And for barrier 10, he'll get a really nice run. Might be sitting just midfield with a bit of cover and be able to get over the top of them late with Tommy Berry and Sal. So happy to have it on top. In for second, I think this horse has been missed a little bit, and it is number 3, Two Ducks Ardia. I think that its win at Cessnock was not too bad, and then prior to that, it was only 2 lengths off Singing Sand, and that horse, if it was running in this, would probably be favourite. So I'm happy to have it in for second. I think $61 odds and $15 odds of the place is really a bit silly, and I'm going to be having something each way on that, as well as my on topper. I think we can come out of that race pretty nicely. Look, the other horse that I want to give a good chance is number 7, the Warlord with National Ruler in the saddle. Third up here. It was really good effort last time out at Scone behind the Outcast. I think it can improve third up here, and we'll due to get a nice run. And in for fourth, number 5, Assault and Bathory, who of course was second behind Gillette recently in a highway race. And I just think that if it gets left alone out front, it'll prove really hard to catch. So just recap the numbers on the second race, the Tab Highway race. Number 11, Smooge on top to beat number 3, Two Ducks Artie. In for third, number 7, the Warlord. And in for fourth, number 5, Assault and Bathory. Race number 3, 1200 metre Fillies and Mares benchmark 78 race here. Look at the speed map here. I'd say Jardin Rouge will find the top. So Cell C, some might box C. Connemara might be one out, one back. I'd say either Mali Magic or Box and Miss might press forward as well. So a little bit of speed in this race, but it looks pretty easy speed map to have a look at. And for me, number 3, Jardin Rouge. This horse was extremely impressive, winning at Ipswich on debut, beating District, and then his trial recently at Doom was really good. I like that they brought this horse down here to race in this particular race, and also Larry Cassidy coming down to ride this horse. So I'd really take a bit out of that. So I'm happy to have it on top. I think it'll find the lead and prove really hard to catch. So I like to have number 3 on top, Jardin Rouge, to beat number 5, Stellar Seasun, who for me, it's got pretty nice form lines coming out of it. Its win last start at the Kensington track, has beat Cyber Intervention and Watchdog, who both have come out and run well since. I mentioned that last week when it was scratched from the Hort Brown Her race. And look, I just think that it's going to get that box seat. Might need a little bit of luck, as they often do in the box seat runs, but Brendan Abdallah is a genius jockey, and he'll be able to get it out and put it in the finish. So I'd say those two will fight at the finish ahead of number 2, Kunamara, who is an ultra consistent horse. Had a trial recently after 2 seconds here at Randwick. Comes to Rosehill. That's last start at Rosehill was really disappointing, but that was behind Alasia, who's no slouch, of course, a group performer. So for me, look, this horse up and about. I've just couldn't have it on in the numbers. I think $2.60 is a little bit short, and for me coming to Rosehill, a little bit of a difference to running at seconds at Randwick. So I'm happy to have it in for third. And in for fourth, I do like at a bit of odds, number 9, Mox and Miss. I think this horse is really consistent. Was a little bit disappointing last night on the heavy behind Agent Pivot, but prior to that was only 0.2 length off Worldly Pleasure, who's not a bad horse, and 2.1 lengths off Natalia, who of course came out subsequently won at a Saturday grade race, and was pretty good last week also. So I'm happy to have it in for fourth at a bit of odds. $19 odds is probably a bit overs, but I can't really see it contesting, but I wouldn't be surprised if it runs a place. So recapping the numbers on race number 3 over the 1200 metres, I like number 3, Jardin Rouge on top to beat number 5, Stellar Seasun. In for second, in for third, number 2, Kunamara, and in for fourth, number 8, Mox and Miss. Race number 4, 350 metres, benchmark 88 here. Looking at the speed map, I'd say Riverbird and Fortensky will find the front, but I'd say Riverbird will have a really nice time in the speed. Matt Maker might decide to go forward from the outside barrier with Glenn Boss in the saddle. For me, this race, look, I know Riverbird's absolutely flying at the moment. I found it a couple of times, gone against a couple of times, and it maps really hard to beat, but I just couldn't dive into $2.20. I'm more happy to go with number 8, Foxy Housewife. I know this horse been out for a little while, but I thought last time out his run behind Eckstein was pretty good. That was the Winter Stakes, of course. Eckstein goes around later in the card. Prior to that, looking at 4 lengths off Felino Bell at the Gold Coast, and then prior to that was 5.7 lengths off Rita Profit. I just think that this horse carrying 52 kilos, coming down in class, and it's mapped to get a really good run in behind the speed. It's going to get every opportunity, and $13 odds and $3 a place, really appealing to me. So I'm happy to have it on top at a bit of odds to beat number 5, Riverbird, who's absolutely flying at the moment, going for the 4th win in a row and the 5th from 6 races. Obviously just failed just the once where it was beaten by England, but since then it's just been absolutely terrific, and it's beaten some decent opposition as well. Being Star Reflection last time out, he's not a bad horse, and this horse obviously loves the rain affected going. Doesn't mind running here at Rosehill or Randwick. It's just been absolutely flying. You're going to get all the favours on pace, so it'd be really hard to beat. Just not happy to dive in at $2.30 in my opinion. I'm happy to go to Foxy Housewife at a bit of odds, but they're definitely the top two for me. In the third, number 2, Fortensky, I think it's mapped to get a really nice run. Second up here, Appeals. It was really good chasing over Riverbird last time out. Nearly caused a massive ball over $81 odds. Second up stats are pretty good. 4 starts for 2 seconds and a third. So it'll be in the placings. I've got no doubt about that. So I'm happy to have it in for third. And in fourth, I like number 1, Gresham, also for Chris Waller. I think this horse is just battling on okay recently. It was pretty good last time out behind Smart Edge and a benchmark 88. And then prior to that was only 1.3 lengths off So You Win. That race rated pretty well as well. So I think this horse will be in the finish also. So race number 4, over 1,350 metres. I like number 8, Foxy Housewife, on top at a bit of odds. In for second, number 5, Riverbird. In for third, number 2, Fortensky. In for fourth, number 1, Gresham. Race number 5, 2,400 metre, benchmark 78 here. Looking at the speed map, I'd say that Savvy Can will find the top. Elwendo will be quite prominent also. Cedar Graham might just sit in behind them, as well as Macdonife and Toulouse. But I'd say the speed won't be too much speed in the race. And as such, I find number 6, Elwendo, extremely hard to beat. This horse was really good beating our Mantra last time out at Doomben over in a benchmark 75, 4.5 lengths there. And Mantra has since come out and won in Queensland last Saturday actually, and I should know as well because I tipped it on top out there. So really happy to have it on top. I think the form line's really good around it. Prior to that, it was a good run by Primitivo. I think the extra distance is going to suit. Last preparation, it ran over this distance range of 2,400. Had a couple of placings, and then of course was 5.5 lengths off Charo and over 2,800. So no problems with the distance. Mapped to get a really good run in front. I think it'll be just too good for him again with Timmy Clark, one of the better front riders in the business in the saddle. So I'm happy to have it on top ahead of a horse at a bit of odds. Number 3, High Power, Natural Will in the saddle. This horse was a bit disappointing last time by Dylan's Romance on the heavy track, but it comes onto soft going. It's much better on the soft. 5 starts for a win and 3 placings. On the heavy, it's had 4 starts for just 1 place. So I'm willing to forgive that run. Prior to that, was really good charging home on heavy track behind Primitivo. And then it was also came on behind Quacker Jack. So I think this horse is just low level flying. I think it's just been waiting for the 2,400 metres. Looking at last prep, it ran over 2,200 at the Gold Coast. It's only one. It was a really narrow second over there on that occasion. And then it failed behind Art Attack at Eagle Farm. But we know this horse will run the distance, and I think it's low level flying. And just, I think that it coming out of the softer track, it'll suit it much better. And I think $90 odds is ridiculous, and I'm willing to have something each way on it to improve on its recent form. In for third, number 2, Cedar Grand. Also, I think paying silly odds. Last time out was 0.6 lengths off Aristocratic Miss. That race has had some good form out of it at Sandown, so it's carrying 60 kilos on that occasion, comes down to 58. Hugh Bowman in the saddle. Prior to that was a really good win, beating No Money, No Honey at Sandown, the lakeside track. Doesn't mind the soft going. It's had 5 starts on the soft track for 2 wins and a placing. Just think this horse is just going to run really nicely as well. It's mapped to get a really good run of the race. So I'm happy to have it in for third. In for fourth, number 10, Our Candidate. Now, this horse for Chris Lees was really good last time out behind Carp Fever. I think it obviously will run the distance, and I think it can turn the tables on that horse. So happy to have it in for fourth. So recapping the numbers for race number 5 on the card. I like number 6, Elwendo on top to beat. Number 3, High Power. In for second, in for third, number 2, Cedar Grand. And in for fourth, number 10, Our Candidate. Race number 6, 3-year-old, benchmark 70 over the 1,400 metres. Look at the speed map here. It's absolutely tons of it. I'd say just about all the inside barriers from 1 to 5 will be quite prominent. My Dementia will try and find the front, as will Blazing. Your Next will be quite prominent. Front side might just try and tuck in behind them. I'd say Singing Sand will come forward from the outside. Wimmler and Unguarded will try and find a spot. So lots of pace in this race. And as such, I'm willing to look away from front side. I think it's really short at $2.40. For me, it's the lay of the day. I'm willing to go with number 13, Sharapova. I thought this horse was extremely good ticking off its debut, its maiden first up this preparation at Warwick Farm. It was absolutely demolished in the betting on that day. It went from $7 into $2.50. I think second up here is just going to improve off that run. It's mapped to get a nice run of the race. And Timmy Clark on the saddle. I think $15 odds is really generous. So I'll be having a play at that, as well as this horse, number 12, Dame Q, who I gave a great chance at odds last time out at Warwick Farm, and it ran a really good race. It charged home nicely behind Rare Episode. This horse got great soft track stats. I mean, it's 6 starts for 1 win and 4 placings. So I think this horse will be well in the finish once again. And as I said, the speed will be on. It'll be able to come on from the back. And obviously the Rosehill Straights gives a much better chance to come on from the back than Warwick Farm. So I expect an improved performance by it. So I'm happy to play each of those two each way. So that's number 13, Sharapova, at $50 odds and $4 a place, and Dame Q, $23 odds and $4 and $6 a place. Sorry, so I'm happy to have those two on top. In for third, look, no knock on number 8 front side. I think it's got a lot of ability, but it's not going to get easy time on the front. The blinkers go on this time round. It's a good run first up, and I think it can improve off of that. But I just couldn't take it at $2.40 for me. That's way too short. And a horse who beat it last time out, number 5, Wimlar. For Gary Waterhouse and Adrian Bott and Nashville Willard riding. He's got a pretty good book of rides for the day, Nash, so I will be surprised if he nabs a few winners on his Rosehill return. This horse, as I said, look, a lot of speed in the race, so of the on-speed runners, I think they'll be the ones that will stay on, but I just think it'll suit the swoopers really nicely in that race with a whole lot of speed in it. So recapping the numbers for race number 6 on the card over 1,400 metres. I like number 13, Sharapova, on top to narrowly beat number 12, Dame Curie, but as I said, I'll be having a go at each of them at their odds. In for third, number 8, Front Sight, and in for fourth, number 5, Wimlar. Race number 7, this is the Winter Challenge listed race over 1,500 metres. Looking at the speed map here, I'd say that Stampede will get to the front from barrier 2. So take an internal try and get a prominent spot, as will Goodfella from barriers 8 and 9. And Seaway and Cradle Mountain will come forward and running out of barrier 11 and 12. Look, I think this horse, I tipped it to win last time out, and it did not disappoint me, and it was an extremely good run. I didn't think it was much of a chance ran in the straight, and it's number 3, Eckstein. I mean, that was a superb winter stakes win, beating Gulwara on that occasion. I just had to have it on top again based on that run. That run was just so good. Hugh Bowman jumps into the saddle. It was just a great run, a great win. I'm happy to have it on top once again here. Just maps well again, in my opinion. Loves the soft track, and I'm really happy to have it on top once again based off that win last time out. So I'll have it on top to beat number 6, Seaway. Now this horse comes back onto the soft going, which is it much prefers. Had 3 starts on the soft track for 2 wins and a placing. Second up stats are superb, 3 wins, 2 wins and a placing. And a second, in fact. It was really good by Gulwara last first up at Rosehill. They, of course, was in the Civic Stakes over the 1,350 metres. And, I just think this horse will improve once again. Gulwara, of course, as I mentioned, just finished behind Eckstein last time out. So the form's really good there. So I'm happy to have it on top in for second, number 6, Seaway. In for third, number 5, Gulwara, much for the reasons I've just explained. If I'm going to have those 2 selections on top, I've got to have Gulwara in the mix as well. Charged home nicely last time out behind Eckstein. I don't think it'll turn the tables, and I think that Seaway will have the better of it this time around as well. But I'm happy to have it in for third. It's been a really consistent horse, and wouldn't be surprised if it runs a good race again. And in for fourth, I like number 9, Cradle Mountain. It's got the outside barrier to deal with, but loves the soft going. 3 starts for a win and 2 placings. Well, it stuck on pretty well in that Eckstein race last time out, so I'd say it'll be in the finish once again. So recapping the numbers on the Winter Challenge, race number 7 over the 1,500 metres. Number 3, Eckstein on top to beat number 6, Seaway. In for third, number 5, Gulwara, and in for fourth, number 9, Cradle Mountain. Race number 8, 1,100 metres, open race here. Looking at the speed map, I'd say that Deflection Girl showed a lot of speed in its recent jump outs first up here in Australia. So I'd say it'll use the inside barrier, as well as You Make Me Smile, who will hum along from barrier number 2. It was really good in a recent trial. Goldfinch will be quite forward. I'd say Malahat and Bonamie will be quite forward as well. But I'd say that this horse will find the lead, and it'll be really hard to catch number 1, Deflection Girl. I've really caught that recent trial at Newcastle really caught my eye. It was a very, very good trial. Looks to be a speedy horse. This horse, of course, coming across from the US where it was group competitive. It's been racing Group 2, Group 1 company in Great Britain, then of course the US Group 3 company. I think runs up to that will be winning this race purely and simply. So I think $5 odds on Die85 is pretty good to take first up here over the 1,100 metres, which I don't think will be an issue. This horse looks to have a lot of sharp speed, so I'm happy to have it on top. To beat number 8, You Make Me Smile, who of course returned really well in a recent trial. That recent trial at Kemba was a really good one by 6 lengths on that occasion. This horse loves the soft going. It's had 3 starts for 2 placings, so get through the track all right. Just never won or placed at Rosehill before, but I was really taken by that recent trial, so I'm happy to have it in for second. In for third, number 4, Bonamina. This horse, of course, was extremely unlucky last time out behind Top Striker at Rosehill, and loves the soft track, and its first up run behind Deprive was excellent, but for me, third up stats aren't great. And look, I know it loves running at Rosehill, and hence why I've got it. Still got it in for third, but for me, those third up stats are a little bit concerning. I couldn't put it on top at $2.40. I think there's a few ahead of it. And if they do it, if they overdo it out front, number 11 Tanico will salute again. I was really happy with that win last week. Of course, that was one of my best value bets at Randwick last week. It of course comes to Rosehill here, but as I mentioned, if they do it over if they overdo it out front, this horse will charge over top of them late. The soft track stats, I'm like a broken record, same as last week. It's now got 4 starts on the soft track for 3 wins and a placing. So this horse loves the going, and as I said, if they overdo it out front, this horse will charge over the top of them late. And if there's a bit of a pattern going on late in the day, I might swing towards Tanico once again. So recap the numbers. Race number 8 on the card. I like number 1 Deflection Girl on top. Delection Girl. First up here in Australia. I think it's got a bit of talent. In for second, number 8, You Make Me Smile. In for third, number 4, Bonamie. And in for fourth, number 11, Tanico. A little bit of a watch as well on number 6, Top Strike. I won't be leaving it out of my quaddies or first fours if you're playing that way. It was a bit disappointing last time out behind Have a Say in the Grafton Ramorty handicap, but prior to that was a really good win here at Rosehill, charged home from the back. So similar thing to Tanico, if they overdo it out front, this horse will finish off well late, so I wouldn't be leaving it out of the multiples like I mentioned, or quaddie legs. Race number 9, 1100 metres over benchmark 78, the final race of the card to wrap it up. Speed map here, so rare episode will get forward again. As I said, the Dame Curie form will tie into this race nicely. Prime Candidate and Grey Worm, they both were in a recent trial and they were on speed. I'd say they'll do it again. Miss X Factor and Epic Dan, they'll try and find a spot from middle barriers also. And Catersby might try and find the front from the outside. Look, for me, I did say last week about my concerns about Grey Worm, and I've got them again. I know they've saved it for this run. There's probably less speed than what it had last week. But I just think that, once again, there's a lot of speed in this race, and it's going to set up really nice for number 8, Tahiti, who's been banging on the door. It's had 3 placings in a row now. Last time out, it was really good, charging home behind Agent Pippa. Prior to that, 1.4 lengths off Victor Salute. The form out of that race was really good. 1.7 lengths off Spiritual Pursuit on its first run this preparation, which, as I mentioned, also really good form behind Spiritual Pursuit. So I think this horse just banging on the door, and Hugh Bowman's in the saddle with all the speed on the race. It's going to be able to come into it nicely. Obviously, it's sort of been sitting around midfield recently, and even if it does that again, I'd say it will just get over the top of them late. So I'm happy to have it on top at $7.50 and $2.50 the place. That was number 8, Deity on top. Look, I have a lot of time and I'm on Grey Worm, just concerned about all the speed in the race, and barrier 11. It's a real tricky gate, but I do like that they've kept it back for this week. I'm convinced to get through the soft track, so the 1 start on it for the win. Was really impressive, winning first up last prep at Moonee Valley over 1200 metres. Went around $1.50 on that occasion. For me though, just 1100 first up with all the speed in the race, barrier 11. Just for me, I just couldn't take it on top, so I'm happy to put it in for second. In for third, I do like the chance of number 9, Reveneer. Now this horse obviously has been a little bit disappointing this prep, but similar things. It comes up from the heavy back on the soft going, and on the soft tracks have 5 starts, 1 win and 3 placings. It'll be sitting off the speed. If they overdo it out front, it'll charge home late. Tommy Berry in the saddle, $19 odds. That's ridiculous. I mean, I'll be definitely having something each way on that. I just think that's crazy odds for that horse. And as I mentioned before, if Dame Q runs a nice race in race number 6, race number 6, I'll be really happy to give number 4 Rare Episode a chance at National Wheel in the saddle. It was a really good win last time out, beating Lifetime Quest. This horse loves the soft going. It's had 4 starts for 3 wins and a placing, and I'd say it'd be in the finish again. There's just a lot of speed in this race, but really do give it a good chance. And as I said, if Dame Q comes out, runs a good race, I'll probably elevate it up my numbers. Number 4 Rare Episode. So recapping the numbers on the final race of the card at Rosehill, I like number 8 Deity on top to beat number 1 Grey Worm in for second. In for third, I like number 9 Reveneer at a bit of odds. And in for fourth, number 4 Rare Episode. As I mentioned, if Dame Q runs well, I'll elevate up the numbers. So that's my preview of Rosehill. If you haven't seen the Lightning Stakes Morphettville preview and also the Bletchingley Caulfield preview, go check that out in the previous video. Good luck tomorrow. Happy punting. Hopefully we can make a good bank and back plenty of winners.